He showed me a map of geothermal potential sites. Okay, that's a lot. Again, coming back to our next panel, if we can ask our two speakers to come up. Veronique Rorive and Dr. Horst Simon. Our next panel will focus on collaborative research and policy development. The panelists will discuss research and innovations that will shape the policies to increase energy cooperation between Mexico and California. Our first of the two speakers is Veronique Rorive, and I'm sorry, she is the assistant director. Did I say that correctly, Rorive?
It's Rorive, but it's okay.
Should I say that again?
It's Rorive.
Rorive, okay, I want to get it right.
Don't worry.
Rorive, I can say it. She is the assistant director of the University of California, Mexico Initiative. Ms. Rorive facilitates the initiative's 5 working groups and the Academic Mobility Task Force, and works with colleagues system-wide to strengthen the UC relationship with Mexico through establishment of strategic partnerships in academia, government, and foundations. Welcome, and please share your comments.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Chairman Hueso and members of the Select Committee, for your invitation to present on behalf of the University of California an overview of our Mexico initiative as it relates to these 3 elements, and specifically in terms of research, innovation, and technology and energy, as well as workforce development between California and Mexico. As some of you know, President Napolitano launched the UC Mexico initiative in January 2014. With the goal of building a strong and sustainable partnership with Mexico, aimed at jointly developing solutions to shared issues. More information about the initiative may be found in our strategic framework, which you have been given copies of. The mission of the UC Mexico initiative is to harness the strengths, expertise, and resources of the UC system and partners in both the United States and Mexico, in order to educate the next generation of leaders through increased student exchange, to bring research to bear on developing innovations and addressing common problems, to inform public policy, and to increase linkages to Mexico. Our overall vision is to establish a relationship with Mexico that is defining for the UC, meaning that Mexico will become ingrained in the very fabric of our university. The 3 fundamental pillars of this initiative are academic mobility, collaborative research, and binational engagement. Our motivation is to redefine binational collaboration through the following approaches: technology and innovations to provide stimuli to fuel economic growth in California and Mexico, bilateral academic exchange and collaborations to create an intellectual powerhouse and educate and prepare the workforce of tomorrow, and engagement to solve shared and complex social, political, environmental, and economic problems. The mission and vision are in keeping with FOBESI, the Binational Forum on Higher Education, Research, and Innovation, which was launched by Presidents Obama and Peña Nieto in spring 2014. When we first began meeting with partners in Mexico, they identified 5 key areas of interest: arts and cultures, education, energy, health, and environment. In addition, through Proyecta 100,000, Mexico had an ambitious goal of dramatically increasing academic exchange between our 2 nations. It was on these themes that our initial efforts have focused, with participation from all 10 UC campuses and, as appropriate, the national labs, medical centers, extension offices, and institutions located in Mexico. President Napolitano committed seed funding for a 2-year period, as did UNAM, the National Autonomous University of Mexico. In addition, the faculty working in each of these areas are charged with leveraging these funds by generating external resources. In a moment, you will hear from Dr. Simon, Deputy Laboratory Director of the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab and Chair of our UC Mexico Energy Working Group, who will talk about our efforts related to energy. Since its founding, the UC Mexico initiative has made significant progress in each of our 3 pillars. In terms of academic mobility, UC to Mexico, UC has offered a traditional education abroad program for students to study abroad for 1 year. Today, students who choose to go to Mexico can select from 4 other options: an intensive 5-week summer program in Mexico City for studies in contemporary Mexico offered in both Spanish and English, or 5 weeks doing field research in Oaxaca, Yucatan, Chiapas, Querétaro, or Mexico City, working one-on-one with Mexican faculty, or a semester-long study at the National Autonomous University of Mexico, or participation in the recently launched Global Leadership Program with a short-term stay in Mexico City and quarter-long internship here in Sacramento. As for Mexico to UC, this year we launched an 8-week mentored summer research internship program at a UC campus for third-year undergraduates from Mexico. It is called MISRIP Mexico. It is open to all major disciplines, including chemical, environmental, electrical, and mechanical engineering, and computer science. This 8-week-long program will provide students with hands-on experience in research, one-on-one faculty mentoring, graduate application workshops, GRE preparation, and a formal research presentation. We are embedding this program in the campus's graduate division offices as part of the academic pipeline to recruit potential graduate students. An example of collaboration with the private sector is the UC Mexico Internship Program for undergraduates. We are identifying ways to enable UC campuses and collaborating Mexican and Mexico institutions to partner with area CEOs companies to offer hands-on internships for undergraduates during the summer months and throughout the academic year. These may be full or part-time. Students would have the opportunity to garner real-world exposure and experience in their chosen field of study. We are currently working with the Union Pacific Railroad to expand the research internships to a bilateral exchange that would include not only UC students, but Mexico students as well. Dr. Simon will share with you the efforts currently being undertaken to expand postdoctoral opportunities in the field of energy. In terms of research collaborations, as a research university, the UC has a keen interest in increasing collaborations with Mexico in areas of mutual interest. Our goal has been to identify issues of common interest or concern, identify people and resources to address them, develop research strategies, and to establish metrics to measure progress. In the area of education, UC partnered with LAUSD and the University of Guadalajara to launch a secondary online bilingual and binational algebra course aligned with the Common Core. 43 out of 46 high school students passed. Proyecto Sol 2.0, as it is called, is now being expanded to develop chemistry and life sciences biology modules with the University of Guadalajara, UNAM, and University of Colima, as well as our California Department of Education. Last fall in 2015, a joint NSF and CONACYT PIRE, which is a partnership and international research and education grant, was awarded to UC Riverside and 3 Mexican universities for the synthesis of optical materials for bioapplications. These institutions received close to $5 million to support research to continue development of a novel transparent skull implant that literally provides a window to the brain. And next month, on May 24th, a new research center entitled Cali Baja Center for Resilient Materials and Systems will be inaugurated at UC San Diego. This center will revolutionize the design, testing, and manufacturing of materials and systems for extreme environments. It is partnering with UNAM's Baja California Center for Nanoscience and Nanotechnology in Ensenada, as well as members of the Baja California industry sector. Binational engagement. One of our goals is to build engagement with the private sector. An example of this strategy is the partnership between the UC and the U.S.-Mexico CEO Dialogue, created by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the Consejo Coordinador Empresarial, Mexico's leading private sector business council, to strengthen economic and commercial ties between the two countries. In June 2015, we signed an MOU to determine how collaboratively we could address the U.S. and Mexico economic integration in an educational context in supporting education and training for workforce development and competitiveness. They are now working with us on the UC Mexico internship program that I mentioned a few minutes ago. Additional areas of common interest include workforce development, border trade optimization, border transformation, energy, and regulation policies and procedures. Fostering research, innovation, and technology opportunities related to energy is one of the identified goals. We're currently developing an action plan with the U.S.-Mexico CEO dialogue to identify mechanisms to facilitate the interaction between the CEO dialogue work groups, the Mexico Initiatives Energy Working Group, and the other UC energy researchers with expertise in Mexico, to collaborate on areas of mutual interest: energy supply, transmission, smart grid, and low-carbon energy systems, as well as the life cycle impacts of transportation options. In addition, we are strategizing on how to facilitate dialogue regarding cross-border land use planning related to energy transportation, taking into consideration the multiple sectors that would be impacted by such activities. For example, land use zoning, property rights, and environmental regulations. In a moment, you will hear from Dr. Simon, who will talk about our 3 pillars in terms of our energy-related efforts. Before I close, I would like to mention that the UC is exploring ways to expand our student exchanges through the development of bilateral online or hybrid courses and through certificate programs. These often reach non-traditional students, such as ranging from teachers to professional career individuals. An example is the Joint Energy Law Certificate Program that the UC Davis University Extension Office is developing with the Tec de Monterrey. The launch date will be fall 2016. And I thank you for this opportunity to share with you our advances, and I appreciate your interest in the Mexico Initiative.
Thank you. And our final speaker is Dr. Horst Simon. Dr. Simon is the Deputy Director of the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory and Chair of the UC Mexico Initiative Energy Working Group. He is responsible for management oversight of interdisciplinary programs and interacts with policy and advisory committees to ensure the highest scientific standard. Dr. Simon will discuss the initiative's partnership with Mexico, including an update on the Energy Working Group's recommendations on economic partnerships and joint research opportunities. He holds an undergraduate degree in mathematics from the Technische Universität in Berlin, Germany, and a PhD in mathematics from the University of California at Berkeley. Welcome, Dr. Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee, and esteemed colleagues from both California and Mexico. It's a great pleasure to be here today and discuss with you the accomplishments and plans of the Energy Working Group, which is one of the subgroups of the University of California Mexico Initiative. When the UC Mexico Initiative was launched in 2014 by UC President Napolitano jointly with UNAM Rector Jose Naro, it was clear that there was energy an important theme. This was the year when, as we heard previously in testimony here, Mexico embarked on the ambitious energy reforms, and those reforms provide the backdrop to energy being an important part of the UC Mexico Energy Initiative. The energy challenge that Mexico is confronting today are many of the same challenges that California has addressed over the past 3 decades, and that our state, of course, continues to address as it plans our energy future. The member of the Energy Working Group includes the participation of UC faculty from 9 campuses and the 3 UC nationally affiliated national laboratories, as well as a representative from the California Energy Commission. In addition, we are very fortunate to have members in the working group from several Mexican universities. In particular, we are fortunate to have Mario Molina, part and member of the working group. He is a Nobel Prize winner in 1995.
Yeah, we just recognized him yesterday at part of our Latino Heritage Awards. He's a Latino Heritage Spirit Award recipient.
Wonderful.
He was here yesterday.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
and just to add, he is, in a sense, the ideal person for this, having both appointments at UC San Diego as well as UNAM. At this point, I would also like to take the opportunity to thank, in particular, Deputy Secretary Beltran and General Director Ortiz from CENER, who have really helped developing the relationship between UC and Mexico. Berkeley Lab has been working previously to the UC working group already with Herman Tribbelkeit, who also testified here, and the Energy Sustainability Fund on establishing research and training exchanges. So it was wonderful that the UC Mexico initiative came along and subsumed this already budding relationship under the leadership of UC Riverside Chancellor Kim Wilcox. So we have continued working to extend this relationship with CENER in Mexico and extend this to the rest of the University of California as a natural next step. I also want to thank the California Energy Commission, especially Chair Weisenmiller and Emilio Camacho of the CEC. They have earlier recognized the complementary nature of the state's efforts, in particular following up on the MOU that the governor signed with Mexico, and the efforts that the UC is engaged in. And so they reached out to the Energy Working Group as a partner, and we have undertaken a number of efforts together. The complex challenges that we've heard about today really take many, many champions to solve together. The working group met, and during its early stages, we have formulated a two-year plan that was approved by President Napolitano and also funded. In addition, we received additional funds from UNAM Provost Eduardo Bárcena, which is a clear sign of the support that this effort has from Mexico as well from California. The working group has identified 4 priority areas, of which I would love to tell you more about, but in the spirit of late time, I'll just list them. We're working on the energy-water nexus, energy efficiency, innovative and new materials, and the smart grid. And I think the first 2 are clear. Innovative and new materials are important because many of the future breakthroughs in energy technologies will come through the discovery of new materials for batteries, for solar panels, for solar fuels, and for new materials, lightweight materials in transportation, for example. And smart grid is, of course, the reaction of the power grid to the introduction of renewables in the grid. The working group has formed 4 subgroups that focus on these areas, and each subgroup has reached out to Mexican members, and the subgroups are working in their expertise, with their expertise in their subdisciplines on projects that advance the overall goals. There has been a long list of activities already during the last year and a half, and I want to mention a few. Some have been already mentioned by other speakers here. We participated in the California Energy Commission's workshop on energy efficiency at UC San Diego. Again, Chair Weisenmiller was presenting there, as was I. And these workshops lead to great opportunities to connect and build future conversations and opportunities for collaboration. The working group participated in the Clean Tech Trade Mission to Mexico City and Monterrey last year, also as part and with the help of the California Energy Commission. You yourself, Mr. Chairman, are aware of the geothermal workshop that was held in Imperial Valley. The workshop was a great success from our point of view, not just bringing together more than 100 participants, but it led to some follow-up conversations that LBNL, UC Berkeley, and UC Davis have had with CFE, and we're exploring a possibility with the Department of Energy to fund work in geothermal at Cerro Prieto that has gone on in the 80s and should be resumed, and the working group may have catalyzed that conversation to move forward. Most recently, the working group had a workshop at energy efficiency by Paul Dodd at UC Davis. 22 institutions from both California and Mexico participated in this 2-day event to understand the status of energy efficiency initiatives and priorities in California and Mexico. As an aside, Odon Duen, who is the director of the Energy Efficiency Institute in Mexico, is a UC graduate, and he commented that in terms of energy efficiency, Mexico has still 20 years to catch up compared to what the state of the art is in California. And so there are many opportunities, as was said before, with us to share the approaches that have worked and the best practices learned. Later this month, and Veronique Ruiz has mentioned this already, there will be inauguration of the new Cali Baja Center in San Diego. Olivia Gravy, professor at UC San Diego, is a member of the working group, and she has also enlisted help from some of the members of the working group who will participate in the inauguration of the center in the dialogue with UC researchers and Mexican researchers.
What's your name, Olivia?
Yes.
Gravy.
Gravy, Graeve.
Okay. Okay.
So she's professor of mechanical engineering at UC San Diego and
Okay.
has promoted collaborations between Tijuana, Baja California, and UC San Diego for many years already.
Does your group formulate policy recommendations for, let's say, for the state or the federal governments of Mexico or the federal governments of the U.S.?
So our group is focusing on research issues, and so I think that's the primary responsibility. I think the smart grid group may move into the policy framework, but in general, we have focused on science engineering, and in particular in science and engineering information exchange, and also graduate student and postdoc exchange.
Okay.
Since I mentioned postdoc exchange, that's something that has been in the works for quite a while, but we expect that in collaboration with UNAM and CENER, we will have the first 3 postdocs coming in a jointly organized postdoc program coming to California. Again, I would like to acknowledge the support we had from CENER and from Deputy Secretary Beltran, who has initiated and underwritten this program and worked on an MOU with us that we have signed. It has taken a long time, and I'd like to say this, to get this started, but it's a pipeline. Now we know how this can be worked, and I think by having a pipeline, we expect many more postdocs coming to California through this program. There are many more things that I could mention, and some have been mentioned by others. I'd like to close to say that I'm excited to see in the coming months many of these activities coming to fruition. In research, it is always the case that you first have to build partnerships, understand colleagues, find joint goals, and then move forward. So it is not something that immediately has benefits. The other thing I would like to say is that, of course, we think that the exchanges are particularly valuable because they lead, especially postdoc exchanges, to long-term partnerships. If these postdocs return to Mexico, become professors at institutions all across Mexico, they will remember, just like Otto Nuben, their colleagues in California, and these interrelationships are extremely important for making progress in academics. So we expect continue to grow and solidify a base of understanding, commitment, and collaboration. There's a vast amount of things that we still can do. And we're looking forward to continue in the spirit in collaborations between California and Mexico.
Thank you. And I just want to state the science aspect is very important. Without really understanding a clear science of the energy, production, distribution, purchasing, all that combined, it really doesn't serve the policymakers too well not to really have a clear picture of what policies we should pursue to accomplish our goals. And I think in California, we've had a pretty good track record in pursuing policies that result in reducing emissions, creating more employment, creating investment in our state. And as we pursue that going forward, I'd like to see where there's an opportunity to provide that synergy, understanding the differences. I mean, it's great to see that Mexico is advancing very similar policies, but they're not identical. And often marrying the two becomes complicated when you have different processes that eventually lead to different functions. So from my perspective, I'd love to find that synergy between our both markets and finding a way to make this happen. Did we have any comments from questions?
No, I just want to thank you guys for a lot of information here today. A lot of things that I've learned here, and you did very well. But just a lot to assimilate here. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it is. It's a very technical subject. It's very complex, and as the chair also of the Senate Energy Committee, it's just understanding California's markets is a very hard thing to do, and very few people have the complete grasp of the California functions, let alone combining that with a country like Mexico and Canada, as we're discussing here today. thank you to our panel. We're aware of our time limit, ladies and gentlemen, but we do want to hear from you, the public. If people could come forward, those interested in making some comments. We want to get the gist of your comments, but try to be as brief as you can, please, for the sake of keeping us on track with the events following.
Right. Thank you, Senator Hueso. My name is Jose Perez, and I own a small company called Latino Journal. But in my spare time, my community service is 4 years ago, we created a group called Hispanics in Energy, and it's a national group. And since today was a key component in terms of not just what's going on in energy between Mexico and the United States, but what's going on in energy here in the United States with such a large population of Latinos, that we've discovered that energy literacy is still a major challenge. And clearly, the kind of information that was shared right now, unfortunately, is not widely known. And so it does present some challenges, but we were created 3.5 years ago, and we have focused on policy summits. We've done one here in Sacramento, a couple of them in Washington, D.C. We've done energy literacy focuses. We've also done jobs in energy around the country in 8 cities. And we've also done, we've looked at contracts and supplier diversity in the energy space, including in the renewable energy space. We've discovered that there's very few entrepreneurs that are getting into that space as owners of some of these companies and developers. And so we've studied those aspects. Our network has increased from 4 organizers to, we've got a little over 6,000 people now around the country, and including some of our good friends at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, which Dr. Julio Friedman just returned from a stint in the Obama administration as the Deputy Director of Clean Coal, if you can imagine that, at the Department of Energy. Right. And so, but he's clearly one of our friends out there. We've got a cadre of scientists and engineers. We've got individuals that are very interested in the job opportunities and the business opportunities in this sector. We've done some energy policy summits about, the relationship with Mexico and the U.S. in Los Angeles, and we have found that there's not always that kind of, interest in trying to work with each other to develop each other economically, and so it's still something that needs a lot of work. And so anyway, today the purpose of coming up here is to let you know and the stakeholders here that we're here. We're a great resource, and so we commend what you're doing. We think it's a thing that's going to benefit not just Mexico, but the United States, people on both sides of the border, and we want to be of service. And so if this committee or any of the stakeholders here are interested in tapping into our resources,
Wonderful.
we're here.
Okay.
Thank
well,
you very
got
much.
Plenty of people to pass business cards out to.
Okay.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Janet Denhart. I'm the director of the University of Southern California Price School of Public Policy, located in Sacramento. And I just wanted to let you know in response to your last question, we have entered into an agreement with CAMexico, which is the Fulbright granting agency in Mexico. And beginning this spring, we're going to have a full-time, highly distinguished Mexican scholar come to study cross-border policy. So just the kind of synergy that you were asking about, this person will be focusing on that and will be located here in Sacramento. And so I hope, in addition to the great work that UC System is doing and others, that this person can work with you and with the state agencies to help form those kinds of policies and policy recommendations that you're looking for.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm familiar with your building. It's a brick building.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Just because I went to UCLA doesn't mean I was the one that defaced
Thank you,
the
sir.
sign there. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you for being here. You're very welcome. Thank you for all your work. Who else do we have? Okay. Well, thank you. Did you want to make any closing comments? I just want to, again, thank all our wonderful speakers. I think it shed a good light into the enormous progress that we've made since the signing of the MOU. It's very impressive. I didn't really expect to hear this much progress in such a short amount of time, but that's a testament to all of you and getting this process going and getting the interest. Since that, we have seen a lot more investment, not only in the state of California, but in Mexico. And it's very encouraging to see that there's a potential connection that can be forged in the future. That's more investment in our respective communities. And I also am not going to stop trumping for, or stumping, I'm sorry, did I say trumping? Sorry about that. I'm sure there'll be a media inquiry. I'm not going to stop stumping for geothermal. It's a binational resource. It's very exciting to see that, you know, I've always figured that Mexico does have a lot of potential there, given the amount of geothermal activity, just the amount of hot water springs in Mexico. That's kind of a sign that there's geothermal, and it's really interesting to note that they're along the Jalisco area, which is where I've seen a lot of those hot wells that are such a big tourist attraction. But it's also has the potential to be a source of renewable energy in an area of Mexico that could definitely use those jobs and those quality jobs that industry brings. So I want to thank our members for being engaged in this process and for being present. And later we'll be at the Stanford Mansion as part of the Mexico Advocacy Week, Mexico Advocacy Day. We'll be there, connecting a little bit more. And that'll be at 5:30, and you're all welcome to join us. Thank you, and have a good evening, and we'll continue working on this.